Welcome to Hockey Wiz Talks podcast. Today I'll be talking about my observations about the 2022 Stanley Cup Finals. In this podcast, I talk about my observations about the Stanley Cup Finals matchups and what both teams need to do to win the Stanley Cup. Stanley Cup Finals observations. Colorado jumped out to an early 2-0 lead in Game 1 thanks to goals from Gabriel Landeskog and Valeri Nichushkin. But then Nick Paul scored to cut the lead to 2-1. Arturi Lehkonen scored later in the first period to give the Avalanche a 3-1 lead, heading into the second period. In the second period, the Lightning struck back and answered with 2 goals from Ondrej Palat and Mikhail Sergachev. The game remained tied at 3 until 1:23 of overtime when Andrei Burakovsky scored the game-winning goal. This was only his second goal of the playoffs and his first goal since the first round. My takeaway from Game 1 was that this would be an even series, and despite the Lightning being outshot by a wide margin, they managed to hang in there and capitalize on their scoring chances. The Avalanche blew out the Lightning 7-0 in Game 2, as Valeri Nichushkin and Cale Makar both had 2 goals apiece, while Darcy Kuemper notched his second shutout of the postseason. After watching the first 2 games in Colorado, it has been apparent it's overwhelming for Tampa Bay. And if they don't do anything to slow down that pace, this series could be over sooner than we had originally expected. And now a word from our sponsor. Check out my scouting blog at hockeywiz777scouting.com. Listen to my scouting blog podcast on anchor.fm/hockeywiz777scouting. What the Colorado Avalanche need to do to win the Stanley Cup. Colorado needs to continue to play with the pace they have been playing with the first 2 games. Role players need to continue to contribute offensively, and their defense needs to be disruptive offensively as well. Colorado's top players need to be difference makers on both sides of the puck. The Avs can't take undisciplined penalties, and Darcy Kuemper needs to match the play of Andrei Vasilevskiy at the other end. What the Tampa Bay Lightning need to do to win the Stanley Cup. Tampa needs to find a way to slow down the speed of Colorado in the neutral zone. The top line needs to be dominant. Braden Point needs to be Braden Point. Tampa needs to stop Colorado from jumping out to early leads. The Lightning need to make the Avalanche uncomfortable when they have the puck and take away their time and space. And Andrei Vasilevskiy needs to be in Conn Smythe form. Check out my hockey blog at hockeywiztalkshockey.blogspot.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at hockeywiz777. On my next podcast, I talk about the NHL scoring leaders in the regular season and make some award predictions.